Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for get my glasses down a little bit, for the 7th day of November 2019. I actually don't need glasses to see with, I just need them to read with. So I'm in this weird space with my computer where I've got to wear them. Anyway, but they just can't be up over my eyes, otherwise everything's blurry. Need to get those little granny glasses. I used to wear them, but they just kept breaking. So anyway, I had to get normal looking glasses so they'd stop breaking on me. Anyway, sun's still in the 11th house of Scorpio right now. So again, passionate, intense experiences. Everything's felt deeply with Scorpio, so avoid drama, deceptive behavior. There's a trine with Neptune, so that brings an intuitive nature. So also artistic, so you might feel compelled to express yourself that way today. There's something else later on that's an aspect of something that also reinforces that. We'll get to that, though. That's further down my list, I think. The moon's in Pisces in the 3rd house currently. So we have this need to interact with others, no matter who they are. So there might be some boundary issues there. Sometimes Pisces has their boundaries are a little bit too fluid. And so maybe a little more discretion. Not everybody maybe wants to talk to you. Sometimes empaths will experience a person like that as a vampiric. The energy's clingy, and we sort of look upon that as vampiric, but we need to realize that these are people that just, have fluid boundaries, and they don't really know when someone wants to talk about their, the endless aspects of their personal life, and when maybe they've got to finish their shopping, they've got frozen stuff in the cart that's melting. So you know what I mean by that. So that's really what we're talking about there. Let's see, the moon trine the sun, easygoing but not particularly assertive. Trine Mercury with the moon there. We're communicating well, but again, sometimes manipulative. So that may be what I was thinking of. But no, I think there's something else further on. The moon square Jupiter also learns some self-discipline, and so that may also have to do with boundaries today. Mercury in the 11th house in Scorpio, intense communication, also retrograde till the 20th. So, just sort of bide your time if you can. Some people don't seem to notice Mercury in retrograde. Some people have all kinds of issues with electronics. Once in a blue moon, that'll happen to me, but most of the time that doesn't. Usually for me, it's communication breakdown, maybe me jumping to conclusions or something, or somebody else, just constantly being agitated or whatever, I've experienced that. And so I don't know. I think Mercury retrograde's effect on people is individual, but again, there's just some basic things to watch out for. Not signing contracts, don't buy electronics, don't freak out because I had one time where my computer literally just died. I mean, there was nothing else. I had to go buy another computer, so I don't know. So it happens. But anyway, Venus is still in Sagittarius and the 12th house. Again, it focuses on relationships, but maybe going out and exploring together, exploring the unknown. 12th house is about the unknown and endings and all of that stuff. There's a semi-square between Venus and Mars. So again, still, and also with Pluto. So, again, we might feel misunderstood by a partner, particularly in when we're interacting with them, we're communicating with them. Lilith is still in Pisces in the 3rd house. So again, tone is important, and avoid drama and blaming others. Lilith, doesn't always want to take responsibility for herself. And so, she wants to go and blame other people. And so, don't be so quick to do that today. Again, Mars is still in Libra in the 10th house. So watch your tone at work. A square with Pluto, again, still feelings of anger might arise. And so there's that. Jupiter's in Sagittarius in the 1st house still. So again, inspirational energy, usually involving becoming a teacher of some kind. So if you're trying to tell people what to do at work, though, today, I would really, take the tone of the room first before you do it and make sure it's welcome. And we've been talking about that for quite a couple of weeks now. That's been going on, I think. We don't have any intercepted signs today, which signifies suppressed action, but we do have duplicated ones. In the 5th and 6th house and 11th and 12th houses, we have Taurus and Scorpio that are duplicated. And what that's, Taurus is about persistence and patience and all of that. And Scorpio provides focus and impetus. And so realistically, it's suggesting that if difficulties arise, just hang in there and be patient and use that focus and that determination from Scorpio and Taurus to sort of ride that wave and stay there and allow that energy to then result in something, a positive outcome. You solve your difficulties and all of that. You resolve things. So I guess that's it on this. Let's go ahead and we'll lay down some cards here, and let me get my notes back where they go. Oh, the correspondences and astrological information post is up for today. The information I just gave is for 9:30 right here, my time on the West Coast, and because I'm in Oregon, and but however, the correspondences one that I do most of the time on the blog, and the astrological information for that, that's done at noon. So that's the time on that one. So whatever you look at there is going to reflect the noon hour, especially because the moon's going to move around in the houses throughout the day. So basically, things change is what I'm trying to say, and I'm just trying to say that this is the time of day that I do that. And that particular post now, that's basically for people who work magic. If you're a magician or a witch, and you need to work a spell today, you can go there to the blog at imsteppingaside.com, and you can look and see what the astrological information is vis-a-vis magic. You can look at, and there's two sections, the current outlook, which is all of that, and then down below are just the general ones that don't change for that particular day. And I try to do these most days. I don't do them every day. Oftentimes I don't do them on the weekend, but I do try to do them every day during the week, just so you can align energies in whatever you're doing. So that's up there on the blog. And so you can check that out if you want to. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've come back, thank you so much. Click subscribe. I'd love you to do that. And if you want to subscribe to my blog, you can do that too. I don't send you anything, and I don't keep lists, so you don't have to worry about that. And if you have any interpretations of your own that you want to share, do so in the comments, and we can get a dialogue going. And let's go ahead and take our first 3 cards. And I will do it randomly, so I'm going to take the 13th card each time. So let's go ahead and get going. Well, we had the 3 of Cups. It's a little glary. I still haven't figured out the glare issue on my computer. I know it's the candles, but I have to be able to see. It's like, well, turn a light on, woman. It's like, no, then you'll see the mess. Everything that's here is here for a reason. That's what I keep telling myself. Well, here we have the Queen of Pentacles. Yesterday we had the King of Pentacles. So far we have a decidedly feminine reading. Although the 3 is catalytic. But never say that a woman can't be catalytic, because we can. Perhaps we are the most true catalytic people. Oh, another court card, a Knight of Pentacles. Maybe we'll put the, well, anyway, I'll finish my thought. Sometimes I think women can be the most dynamic and catalytic presence out there, given the fact that we give birth. So I don't know how much more manifesting we can be. But here we have the Knight of Pentacles. We might draw a fourth card. I don't know. Let's just play around with this and see where it takes us today. So basically we have a 3 energy on this 7 day. So 7 is about balance. It's about divinity, magic, but it's basically the scales. It's represented by the scales, and you're basically bringing things into balance. So in a sense, implied there also is the resting point, where you allow things to just sort of settle out. We have an 11 energy for the month, and so we're looking at the master number for illumination. So we have strong soul presence this month, sort of guiding our path. I think that, things are starting to spark a bit, collectively with open hearings now beginning next week. And so I think that plus more transcripts are dropping and more people are testifying. And so I think that you're going to see a lot of energy there. You might start to see some conflict in your personal life as well, ramp up as if you have people that support him, as they're starting to struggle with the concept that he's not who he said he was. And I'm sorry, but we have to allow people the process there to move away from support, and whatever that they need to do that, we're going to have to give them time to do that, so that they understand what's really going on. But we'll begin with the Queen of Pentacles here. And we see a woman of authority, a woman of means. And I love this card. She's sitting on a beautiful earthy throne, isn't she? She's got grapes around her. She's not like not like the King of Pentacles yesterday. The King of Pentacles was just covered in grapes. You could see his head. But he's so wrapped up in his own stuff, his own wealth, his own possessions, that he doesn't really have time to understand anyone else. Now, and I said yesterday that it's not the kings that that really provide they're not the one you trust. It's the queen that you trust, because it's the queen that's going to influence the king into right behavior, if it's at all possible, right? And so here we have a woman who is just sort of taking stock. She's taking some time out, some respite. You can see some white alabaster mountains in the distance. It might be winter out there, but I don't know. It doesn't really look like it, although there are some fall colors here. We do see roses above her head in this little archway that she's sitting. It's like this little English garden, and she just goes out there and she meditates and thinks about things and considers everything that she's responsible for. That's the thing about Pentacles. It's about the physical. It's about the earth element, so it's about our physical presence, the material aspect of life. And she's someone who's centered and balanced, and she keeps things in perspective. She's kind of looking down. She's facing the past, but she's really thinking about the present moment. Now here we have a knight on the other side of the 3 here. We're going to look at this first. And a Knight of Pentacles. Again, look at the strength of the horse. It's almost like one of those, although it's not, you don't see the furry feet there, but it's almost like it's a Clydesdale strength of a horse, where it's big. Don't you love on Super Bowl Sunday when Budweiser, has the dog and the Clydesdales? There was the one, remember, where they come together, and I think there's snow, and they both bow to one another. It was just the most amazing thing. I think it was after 9/11. I think that's what it was. I get choked up thinking about it. But the symbolism, the respect for something less powerful, I don't know. But you have the knight here, the visor's up. He's holding his pentacle in his hand there, almost as an offering. But it's almost like he's going out in search of something that will enhance the kingdom, that will enhance the people, or perhaps his family. Maybe he's going out and he's on a quest to maybe look for another home, maybe, or look for work or something like that. It can be that sort of energy. But a knight is extremely dynamic. Let me see if I'm forgetting something here. Trustworthy, yes, because it's pentacles again. Wise, dependable, practical, realistic. he keeps his focus on what he's doing. You don't see, in other words, this is a measured response from this guy. He's going to be reasonable in what he's going to do and the choices he's going to make because he wants it to benefit the foundation, basically, right? He wants it to benefit his life. And typically knights are out in service for other people, so it's likely, he's doing something on behalf of others, basically, either the family, the tribe, the kingdom, what have you. All while we have three friends in celebration holding their chalices high. We see abundance all around them. Fruits of the harvest coming in. Cups is about our emotions, so we're not just looking at our material foundation, but we're also looking at our emotional presence. It involves intuition, it involves compassion. With the three, you're talking again, mind, body, spirit balance, triplicity. You're talking about the middle way. It also represents, you could represent two pillars and then the middle way, that'd be the third. So it could represent that as well. The pyramid, not the pyramid, but the triangle, but the pyramid, although a pyramid's not three-sided anyway, I guess it's a whole lot more than that. There was a picture of it on, Ancient Aliens one day, where they're showing that it's the pyramids aren't even four-sided, they're actually more. There's actually like an impression in the center. I don't know, when the light hits it just right, you can see it. So there's actually even more definition to some of them than we realize. But anyway, triangle, not pyramid. But anyway, you're looking at, let's go back to cups here, success, victory, triple goddess, celebration. So basically we have some kind of a focus here today that on this Jupiter day, it's a Jupiter day, it's a Thursday. And so we're looking at Jupiter's expansive energies. It's not in retrograde right now. It was, and then when it's in retrograde, you want to look inward. Well, right now it's not, it's just normal. And so it's basically, blessing us with its expansive and benevolent energy, right? And so we see benevolence in the reading. We've seen some conflict of late, we've also seen some shared purpose of late as well. So this could just mean that today's just going to be a really good day for folks. I don't even know if we dare take a fourth card. I think we will. Maybe we can just get an idea of what the party's all about. Let's do that. Let's take a fourth card. But we know that we've got a woman who's just seeking a little bit of time out today. So if emotions get to be too much, or you need to just simply take stock of what's going on in your home, in your immediate surroundings, you might feel compelled to do that. Again, though, take a grounded approach to it. Don't allow emotions to get a little crazy. And that's not what's happening here in the Three of Cups at all. But it's almost like they're doing this in celebration of the life that they all have together. And it's almost like it's what happens when things go right. We're focused on our lives, on our foundation, on the material aspects of our life, just living, in other words, living our life. We're also out trying to, make our way and improve it with the Knight of Pentacles energy. And then we're just in celebration with others. We're not fighting with anybody. And I just think, on this 7-day, we're bringing this sort of thing into balance. We can live in we talked about this yesterday. It seemed to be more of a balance between service to self and service to others. And here, this just seems to be a service to others. We've made that choice, perhaps. And now, we've decided that our best chance is together. Let's just add a fourth card, though, and see if there's anything else that, hopefully it doesn't mess it. I'll probably get another court card, so Anyway. Court cards are just, their own special. They're like the redheaded stepchild of the family, right? As they say. That's a terrible thing to say. We got the Lovers, a 6 energy, higher self, soul archetype card. So definitely bringing things into balance, and having that come from a spirit perspective. We're holding our chalices high here. we could almost, having these three together, I was going to put the 3 as the focal point, but in fact what we have at its core, and we'll put that just above it then, is the Lovers. And so we figured out, the balance that we need to take. I don't need to shuffle anymore. I do that, don't I? I don't need to shuffle anymore. I need to get my room back out. It's like, okay, stop drawing cards. All right. But the cool part about the 6 is you're talking higher self energy and a greater level of shared balance with others. We have, of course, all right, heresy time. Anyway, you can see what they've done here. You've got the strength of the oak tree behind the man, supposedly Adam. And then you have Eve over here on the other side. Excuse me. You have the implied challenge of Earth and Earth life with the mountain in between them. You have the angel above and the sun above shining forth, the light of source presence. But we also, look what we have over here behind Eve. We have the quintessential apple tree, and we have the serpent. Now, if you look at the angle of the mountain, it bends toward Eve. So clearly she's the troublemaker, right? No. Why on earth would you not eat from the tree of knowledge? In all likelihood, the people that were here at that time, these were people that were extraterrestrials or interdimensional people. However they got here, they were from somewhere else. They didn't live here. And however all this happened, they needed workers, and so basically they started genetically modifying all of us. And they had lots of different mistakes and lots of different this and that. You had women mating with the extraterrestrial men, and which they called watchers, and then the Nephilim were created, and likely the women dying in the process of giving birth. So this was not a good thing necessarily in some aspects, but in other aspects it created who we are. And so when you look at the whole notion of Adam and Eve, if you look at it from this standpoint, you look at it from the standpoint of patriarchy, and that's not where we need to be. Patriarchy is actually how we got to where we are today, in fact. And why we're struggling with the issues that we are. But basically, we need to bring all of that into balance polarity. Whether you talk about the Lovers in terms of, a married couple or a partnership, or whether you're talking about balancing the projective and receptive within. We unfortunately delineate that in terms of masculine and feminine, and so maybe we think of that as gender when it isn't. It just isn't. And so this is just the energetic structure. Some of us have more projective energy than receptive energy. Some of us, it's the reverse. When it gets too far out on the margins, that's usually when it becomes most problematic. But it can also, if you can find maybe a better balance and seek a better balance between the two, just in your everyday life, then you usually fare a lot better with others in your relationship with others. Here we have Nathis, which is the 10th rune of the Elder Futhark, and you're looking at Isa crossing itself. You're also looking at a weird, skewed type of Gebo energy, which is balanced energy exchange. But here, what we're talking about, given that Isa is the strongest, line there, the single line, the vertical line there, you're talking about the friction within. All right, you're talking about an inner balance, but you're talking about the friction within to manifest something. So this being one of the 3 Norn runes contained within the Elder Futhark, this would be the Norn rune of the future. Hagalaz is the rune of the past, and Isa is the rune of the present moment, or the static realm. And so here you're talking about the friction within to manifest something. And again, I think what we're manifesting is bringing things into the polarity into some kind of a balance. We're not necessarily talking about a 50-50 balance. It's never going to be that way. Yeah, I think if it were, you'd get nothing done. Personally, I think maybe it ought to, sometimes it needs to be more, sometimes it's situational, isn't it? Sometimes you need to be more heavily balanced on the receptive side of self in order to, make the moment come out, be a little more successful. Maybe interactions are just getting too heated and you need to drop resistance and just allow all that energy to dissipate before continuing, right? sometimes you can just affect the whole tone of something, even if you've got a bunch of people talking, by simply changing your energy and your focus and dropping resistance. It has a ripple effect on the room, and you'll watch. Just try it sometime. Just, if people are getting a little argumentative, just sort of drop resistance and focus on seeing everyone else's drop as well. Or at least visualize your own connections, energetic connections to these people that are involved in the conversation with you, and see your own energetic connections dissolve with them. You can get them back. It's not like it's forever. You can get it all back. But the bottom line is that's what you want to do. You want to go and allow your own energy to settle, and you might be surprised on the effect it actually has on other people. And you don't have to say anything either. You just do it. And it really does. I've done it, and it really has an interesting effect. It might not take away all of it, but it does reduce it somewhat. Energy sort of contributes, you see. And if you can pull one of the legs out of it, you disturb it enough, maybe, you can get people to calm down. But I think, you're looking at the friction within to manifest when you look at the Knight of Pentacles. You're also looking at it with the Three of Cups, because we're coming together in intentional harmony and shared purpose with others, in love and fellowship. Let's do the geomancy rune, though, and see where this brings us today. The Nathis is being the 10th rune, you're looking at a one energy, so new beginnings. So I don't know, maybe this is something new for you today that you've never done before. Well, we have some impulse control issues today, so definitely. This is Poor, and Poor represents on its face a young boy. So, if you think what a young boy is, this sort of impulsive energy, it's a fire element. We've got active influences, or single dots for fire, air, and earth, and then a dual dot for water, so for emotions. And so your emotions are passive. That means you're going to be, way too flexible. And so you're not going to have a whole lot of boundaries necessarily. The moon in Pisces and the third house, the need to interact with others irrespective of who they are, probably describes Poor energy fairly well. It also could describe Puella energy, the female side of it, young girl side of it. We're talking about erratic energy, impulsive, maybe. Probably Poor a little more impulsive, and Puella on the female side of it, or the receptive, or this would be the projective side, and the other would be the receptive side. That one would be just maybe a little more erratic. I mean, fluid boundaries, similar to the moon in Pisces today. But here, with Poor, you're looking at a little more willful type of energy. So that's perhaps a little unstable and not quite in control. So that would be the underlying thing that we need to use Nathis to counteract, right? Bring that scattered stuff, that scattered energy into focus, and then bring the polarity within also into balance, so that we can understand that, and here's the other thing. I was talking about this with my husband the other day about cause and effect. If you look at, there's a something by the three initiates called the Kabbalion. If you research that, it basically talks about the different things the different laws of the universe, basically. One of them, in terms of creation, and one of them is cause and effect. So what you're looking at there, you're not looking at two distinct experiences, okay? Cause and effect is part of one big unit of life, all right? All of these different, it's an expression of polarity. Once we come into form, we express in polarity. We're no longer part of the singularity of source energy. We're now a piece of that that's focused into form, right? And once we get here, we split into two, basically. That's why we have male and female. That's how well, anyway, you can see how it all sort of works. But the point is, I think, that the whole idea of cause and effect in anything, whether you're talking about polarity, any of it, what we're seeing when we see another person is we're seeing the other side of self. We're not seeing a separate individual. We're seeing another point of light within the singularity of self that is source energy, that is the creator, that is all that is, that we all are, right? And so everything that we see is just another side of self. It doesn't matter if it's another person, an insect, this piece of paper. We're talking about the energy of creation, and that's a unified consciousness. So no matter how individualized it might be, no matter how, what dimensional it might appear, no matter what it might look like, it's still a multiple expression from a single source. Excuse me, from a single source. So when you talk about this, you cannot think in terms of either or, cause and effect, up, down, left, right, male, female. You can't think of existence that way. You have to think of it in terms of its totality, which is kind of tough because, you come through the veil when you focus into form, when you incarnate. And babies don't lose it for a while. Toddlers don't lose the awareness for a while. And then some of us that are empathic don't lose that awareness. Now, you might, and I just use the term empathic because I view that as the resonance of the non-physical aspect of self. I just view it as an emotional resonance. And so everything else, intuition, everything else happens once you focus in. So does being an empath as well. It happens when you focus in, when you feel people's emotions and all of that. But our default state could be considered empathic, basically. And from there, we branch out when we come into form to other forms of psychic ability to where we can, or awareness. I don't want to say ability because these aren't abilities. These are default states. I've always been really bothered by this. Like, no, this isn't fun. It's not fun at all. But the whole idea is that we think in terms of the collective whole. And that part of what we're doing now, and what I think that this reading is talking about, is learning how to integrate all of that in a way that gets us somewhere, instead of keeping us at loggerheads and in conflict with one another. And so when you start to see that either or is part of a greater single concept, and it's just two halves of the same whole, you can't then forget the part about that it's part of the same whole. And I guess that's what I'm trying to suggest here. What we have currently, the stresses that are going on in our lives, unfortunately have taken a societal, impetus, really. So much of the, animosity we might feel for a family member or a friend is because of what happened in that last presidential election. We can't believe so-and-so would have voted for this man, or we can't believe my family members didn't vote for this man. He's our savior. It's like, no. And so you have that sort of, interaction going on now. And unfortunately, it's coloring everything. It's coloring our ability to go out in the world and just, interact with people. I talked to one lady we passed by on a walk, and she's talking about, people getting food stamps and I'm just like, oh my God. Can't we just talk about how nice the day is? Do you have to? It was just awful, And so it's that inability to see us all as part of the greater whole, that when we work in shared purpose together, when we come together in balance and in appreciation for one another, we can accomplish anything, We just have to remember that we belong to each other. That's all. So the women in the Three of Cups clearly understand that process. And I think the Queen does too, as does the Knight, because they're both doing what they're supposed to be doing in service to that whole thing, in service to that balance, that harmony between all of us. So, however, little inner friction to overcome the lack of impulse control that we might feel to sort of, still argue with one another. So anyhow, I guess that's it. So I won't see you until Monday. I just do this 4 days a week. So hopefully this will last for the whole weekend. If not, the weekly Rune and Moon will go up either Saturday night or sometime on Sunday. So there'll be that. Let's see, the astrological information and correspondences will go up again tonight for tomorrow, so you'll have that at least to check in on if you want to look at that. I still have not done my burdock post, and I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'll get to it this weekend, but things are starting to calm down around here. You know, I've got more. I'm switching out some of my bottles. I discovered you can buy those, and I got them at a pretty good price. Those, the round Boston. Well, let's see if I've got one here that I can just show. Oh yeah, here's one. All right. So you've got these little, well, this is similar to one. Imagine a dropper in there. So they look like this, only they're brown. Anyway, what is this? This is moon oil. Anyway, but I got them in like 8-ounce and 16-ounce, and then I've got some 32-ounce ones coming because I have stuff in quart jars, and so I can just go ahead and put them in there, and they're brown, So I can get my canning jars back. So anyway, I'm in the process of gradually switching out all of that. So I've been doing that too. It looks really cool having all those cool brown bottles and big sizes and everything. They're just awesome. Anyway, I love glasswork anyway. I don't know. I'm weird. But so I'm doing that, and I've got more coming today, and no, they come tomorrow, I guess. And so I'll finish out my quartz, or at least some of them tomorrow. And but other than that, I'm still waiting on some things to dry, and I brought my white sage in from the greenhouse, and I'm going to put it in the tent under LED lights, and I'm actually going to trim it. And then I think you can actually start those in cuttings. I read, or my husband read, about sage. You can do that. And so I have a horrible time keeping my white sage alive. I always have to restart them. And they're hard to grow. I don't know why, but they're just hard to grow for me. And so I'm trying really hard this time. I've got a plant. I mean, it looks spindly, but, it's alive. And so we're going to spray it with some, insecticidal soap that we're going to make, and so it's not toxic to it. And then just to make sure there's nothing still on it anywhere. If there is, I don't think there is. And then we'll put it in the tent with everything else that I'm going to keep for the winter. And everything in there is doing really well. My chickweed is just growing like gangbusters. And I planted some more licorice for licorice root. I planted some more of that in the existing pots. My Monarda is doing really well. And so things are growing in there because I can't stop growing things. So anyway, so I'll be working with that this weekend and doing some writing and just trying to keep up with everything. And so I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend and come back on Monday. Check out the blog again if you want to check out anything I've been writing and the stuff that's going to go up this weekend. You might think that's interesting. So the weekly Rune and Moon is from a different perspective. It includes human design, I Ching information. So if you're interested in that, it might just check it out. I post over on Medium too. And when I do those, I post it over in Soul and Sea. They invited me to be part of that. And so I was so thankful to them for doing that. It's such a lovely experience at Medium anyway, and for writers. And then to have these little groups that form, and you get invited into one. I think I got invited into an herbal one, but I didn't know how to do it. I figured it out with the Soul and Sea though, so how to post there. And so stuff like that goes up there as well. So you might see it there if you are a Medium reader. So anyhow. Thanks again for coming by. We'll see you on Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.